Hello everybody, welcome back. SimAgent 42 here, and I'm here with the second in the FS Academy VFR training modules. So we're going to be going over approach today, which I think should be useful. And it says, get your first introduction to the approach and landing attitudes before re-entering the control zone, navigating visually between VRPs, and completing an approach. I hope they explain what VRPs are, because as of right now I have no idea. So let's get right to it. See what happens.
Welcome back. We're to the northwest of Liverpool, this time to look at descending, approach and landing. We're flying straight and level in uncontrolled airspace at 100 knots. Maintain heading 090 and slow to 60 knots, keeping altitude 2,400 feet.
Alright, so I'm going to pull back on the throttle and I'm going to raise the nose to slow us down. Not sure I want to drop the throttle that much. Alright, so we're like 65 knots.
Staying level at 2,400 feet, set flaps to 10 and see how the picture changes.
Alright, flaps to 10.
Maintaining 2,400 feet, see how the nose is lower as the flaps have made the wing more effective.
Right, except I need to feed some more power in because I'm going too slow now.
Now set flaps to 20 and see what changes.
Flaps 20. That's all we got, right?
Flaps add both lift and drag, so you need a little extra power to hold your speed.
Yeah, I just figured that out. We're a little low, too. Try climbing just a
Now
little.
accelerate to 80 knots.
So I'm going to drop the nose a wee bit. I mean, throttle's maxed out, so I don't know what else we want to do here.
Now keep 80 knots and start a slow descent, only going down at about 400 feet per minute.
400 feet per minute. Okay. So I'm going to pull some throttle out so that we don't change our speed. That's maybe a little bit.
Keep descending at 80 knots and 400 feet per minute. This is how we'll fly down the initial part of the approach.
Okay. 400 feet per minute. Using the trim instead of the pitch authority to fine-tune that vertical speed. So we're descending down through 2,000 feet.
Now Now please maintain your rate of descent and extend full flaps.
Full flaps.
Now that we've got full flaps, we have more lift and drag. Set and maintain a speed of 60 knots.
Alright.
Good. Now holding 60 knots and a slow descent of 300 to 400 feet per minute. This is how we'd fly the end of the approach as we get close to landing. Get used to this attitude and power setting and keep descending further. So this is how things would look as we come in to land. But if things don't go well, we perform a go-around, where we apply full power and pitch up to start a climb.
Yes.
Make sure not to do this too aggressively, however.
Is that a racetrack below, just below our nose? What racetrack that is. Alright, coming down through 1,250 feet. Gradually descending. I got a peek. I know I should be paying attention to instruments. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It doesn't really seem large enough to be it might be a karting track. But what do I know? I can
Let's
look it up later.
practice a go-around. Set full power now and set the climb attitude.
Full power?
Use some right rudder to stay straight and keep climbing. Set flaps to 20.
Flaps to 20.
Set the flaps to 10.
Flaps 10.
Finally, retract the flaps completely.
Track
Good.
flaps completely.
Climb to 1,400 feet and get yourself straight and level at 100 knots.
100 knots, it's at 1,400, which is, we're right about there. Alright. Let's accelerate.
Trim nose down to ease the control pressure as you stabilize at 100 knots with the straight and level attitude.
We went a little too high.
Now we'll head back to Liverpool and try a zone entry, approach and landing.
Okay.
Liverpool Golf Foxtrot Sierra Alpha Charlie, request VFR rejoin at Kirby.
Golf Alpha Charlie Liverpool radar, clear to enter controlled airspace at Kirby, not above 1,500 feet VFR. Squawk 5052, clearance limit, car factory.
Clear to enter, not above 1,500 feet VFR to car factory 5052 Golf Alpha Charlie. Turn right heading south. We're now looking to route to the car factory VRP, located just north of the airport. Maintain 1,400 feet. Target a speed of 100.
Feed in a little bit more power here. It really
Now
does
continue
become
south into the Liverpool control zone, and you'll soon begin to see the factory as a large flat industrial building near to the airport. Visual reference points, VRPs, are local landmarks that give points of reference to VFR flights to easily communicate their positions. Chosen for their standout features, VRPs are shown on VFR maps.
I see.
ATC assigned us a squawk code, which is entered into the transponder to label us on the ATC radar screen.
5052. which is already entered there. A little low, a little slow. Feeding some power back in.
On our way back, let's talk about the aiming point. Once established on the approach, we pick a spot on the runway and try to lock that point in the same place on our windscreen all the way down. It could be runway numbers, a touchdown marking, or something else. Continue on this heading of south and you should be able to see the car factory soon.
Said it was a long, low, flat building. I wonder if this is it. Visual reference points, VRPs. I think one of the biggest things of learning to fly is learning to speak the language, right? It's learning all of the abbreviations that aviators use. Is that the tower where we're going to, or I guess this is it. So maybe we're going to swing around to the left and enter the pattern that way for right traffic, or are we going to swing to the right and do left traffic over the water? Because there's only one way to find out. Climbing again, ever so slowly. Down to 1,400 feet. Yeah, so that looks like the car factory here, based on what they told us.
Golf Alpha Charlie, contact Liverpool Tower 126.355.
126.355 Golf Alpha Charlie. We'll report to ATC that we've reached our clearance limit at the car factory VRP. Golf Alpha Charlie, car factory.
Golf Alpha Charlie, make right orbit for traffic, call complete.
Alright.
Right orbit, Wilco, Golf Alpha Charlie. Start a 360 turn, known as an orbit, to the right as instructed by ATC.
Okay. Rising a little.
The landing attitude will be just like what we saw earlier, which we used to fly down towards our aiming point. As we cross the runway threshold, move your gaze to the far end of the runway and then use peripheral vision to judge your height. Then we'll pull the power back and raise the nose to the flare attitude, which is just enough to reduce your rate of descent, and touch down on the main gear first. Then we'll smoothly allow the nose wheel to land and let your speed fall off with the power still at idle.
Okay, well, how do we get there from here? 360 turn. I'm actually going to pull the power back. Okay. Tell me what to do.
Golf Alpha Charlie, orbit complete.
Golf Alpha Charlie, enter right downwind, runway 27, number 1.
Right downwind, runway 27, Golf Alpha Charlie. Make a left turn here to fly heading 090, parallel to the runway. Descend down to 1,100 feet. Keep flying parallel at 1,100 feet until the runway threshold appears at a 45-degree angle behind you, over your right shoulder. I'll let you know when to turn. Target a speed of 100.
Really? That fast? That would have taken us way, Alright, I mean, that's 45 degrees behind me, more or less.
Target a speed of 100.
I'm working on it, okay? Tranquilate.
Looking over your right shoulder, the threshold of the landing runway seems to be about 45 degrees behind us. Now's a good time to make our right-hand turn to start lining up with the runway. Start a gentle descent and start slowing to 80 knots.
80 knots. I'm gonna go here. Gentle descent.
Once your speed is down to within the white arc, take flaps 10 and hold 80 knots.
Alright.
We're in the white arc now, so set flaps to 10.
Flaps 10.
Hold the speed of 80 knots with a gradual descent.
Okay. So...
Now take flaps 20, speed still at 80 knots.
This is a lot to do. A lot to manage. I'm just gonna line up here, hope for the best. Okay. Did we miss a checkpoint again?
Golf Alpha Charlie, cleared to land, runway 27, wind 250 at 4 knots.
Cleared land runway 27, Golf Alpha Charlie.
Slight crosswind.
Okay, we're cleared to land. Finally take flaps full and slow to 60 knots.
Alright, slowing to 60. Full flaps. I am too high. There we go. Now we're on glide slope. I'm going to target those touchdown markers.
Power to idle and set the flare attitude.
Power to idle. Flaring. Touching down main gear first. Trying to at least.
Stay on the center line as you decelerate, then vacate at the first exit on your right.
First exit on the right. brake slightly.
Golf Alpha Charlie taxi via Alpha and link Kilo.
Alpha and Kilo, thank you, Golf Alpha Charlie. Now we're vacated, after landing checks, flaps up, transponder to standby.
Okay. Is it going to do the transponder for me?
Well done, so we've looked at re-entering the control zone, entering the circuit and making an approach and landing. Press escape to exit and we'll move on to focusing on the circuit pattern.
Okay. So we'll try that. I'm just going to stop it here. I don't want to taxi all the way back to the gate. And set my parking brake, right? There we go. Alright, well, that'll wrap it up for this video. I will see you all in the next one, hopefully. Talk to you soon. Bye.